Hey guys, so finally got this off. This is the yoke that was on my pickup truck. You can see clearly that there's a hole right in the middle. That's where it was leaking transmission oil from. Now I gotta figure out, do I seal this? Do I replace this? Has it been swapped? My transmission doesn't have a cup inside or a sleeve seal, so this kind of had to leak. Somebody before me had put silicone in there. That doesn't work with transmission oil very well, because that transmission fluid actually is like a cleaner. It dissolves all that stuff. I showed you stuff about my transmission. I showed you how I undid my drive shaft yoke. One thing that is totally destroyed is the transmission mount. And what came, see, this was, there were holes, not like this, you know, it wasn't broken out like that. But what's even worse than this is what it looks like underneath the truck. Let me show you that, and that's the reason why it's one of the reasons why I'm going back to the junkyard today on a beautiful Saturday, which Barbara and I usually like to spend together doing something else, but Barbara also has a work assignment to deal with, so yeah, that's life. So what you see is a temporary cover because I took out the tail housing of the transmission. Further research has revealed that there won't be any sleeve seal or anything like that. I'll just have to seal the hole in my yoke. But I want to show you another hole. When I first looked at this, I did not really clue in, to be honest. Like, there's a hole that shape, but how do I fix this? Like, how do I fix a hole like this? I mean, worst comes to worst, I'm gonna get a metal plate bolted in there, but it's got to be supported really well. Yeah, it's just a piece of metal, just a cross member. So how much could that possibly cost at my favorite junkyard? Probably 10 bucks. And today there's a special. They got 40% off on suspension parts. Now, I know this isn't really a suspension part, but it is suspending the transmission. So there's my version. I'm going to try whatever I can to get a good deal on this damn cross member. It's easy to take out, just 4 bolts. So off I go to the junkyard. So here we are at the junkyard. Now I basically found what I was looking for, but there's one issue with it. Well, it meets a couple of the requirements. First of all, it's 2-wheel drive, late 1980s or early 90s pickup. The Crossmember that is in here resembles the one that is on my truck, except there is a plate here which mine might have had at one point, but maybe it got ripped out. There's still a transmission and a motor, everything's still in here. So unless I find a way to prop up this motor and transmission, then this is really hard to get out. So I'm gonna keep looking. Maybe I'll find one that is easier to access than this one. Well, I did find a cross member, but I have the feeling it may not be the right one. First of all, this hole is further to this side, and it's also further to that side. I'm going to compare this to this truck, which is two-wheel drive, late 1980s or early 90s. Same as mine. Different motor, which means different transmission more than likely. But let's have a look. It is a different transmission. It resembles the one that I got in my wheelbarrow. So I'm going to take a measurement. And if it's the same, I'm going to take it, because this was so easy. I didn't have to unbolt anything. Yeah, this looks like it's the same. I'm going to take a measurement anyways. This looks to be the same. So I scored that one. Awesome. So aside from the Crossmember, for this transmission I also need the mount. And I looked online and it's kind of iffy, you know. There are some that look exactly the same like mine, but it says it doesn't fit my truck. And then there's some others that look different and it says they fit my truck, but they're also in excess of $50 a piece, which is probably because they're polyurethane or whatever. So here I found one that fits my truck, but it's not the easiest to get off. This one looks exactly like the one I had on my truck. Unfortunately, everything's still on there and I'd have to lift it. Yeah, you can see what the problem is. I need to lift this high enough so that I can get a ratchet in there. So as you can see there, I found a way to get this mount out of here. Unfortunately, this is not worth it. It's already cracked, it's in very poor condition, so I'm leaving it here. But I measured the distance there and it's 3 3/4 inches between those two holes. So that gives me an idea what to look for when I order my brand new one. I should be able to get a brand new one for about 20 bucks. So I kind of wasted some time here, but you know, things you don't do. Wheelbarrow is empty just because I unloaded it. Okay, I got only really one major item, 2 minor ones. My receipt actually says, I think it says I have only one. See, because I am old, I actually get a senior's discount at the junkyard. Look at that. Crossmember Bear, it's only $30.34, comes up to $34.18. So here's the Crossmember, 2 hangers for my exhaust, they were free of charge, and 1 cover for my air cleaner. So I'm happy with that. 35 bucks, and it's significant for me. Now I gotta go to Canadian Tire and pick up some exhaust clamp and adapter, and that's it for today. So we're looking at the transmission mount. Here's the old one. Obviously this cannot go back in the truck. As you can see, it's toast. But yeah, it looks like it's got the right dimensions, roughly speaking. And here's the new one. Looks completely different, but it's also listed for this truck and this transmission. Main differences here is in the height and of course the shape, which shouldn't really matter. When I was undoing this one, there was some play in all directions and it kind of confused me. So we'll see how this one works out. So at the moment I don't have the parts to put this all back together. There's a bushing seal and gasket set for the tail housing of my transmission that's on order. It's coming from Summit Racing in the United States. So it should be here by, yeah, what is it, next week, maybe sooner, I'm hoping. But I'm gonna take out the Crossmember, the one that's damaged, and put the new one in. If I get that done tonight, then I'll clean up the yoke too. I got some JB weld for it, so I can put something where it leaked from. Want to bet that these are 18mm on the outside and that they're very tight. All right, let's see how tight they are. Let's see how it's right. Okay, this is turning, but it's probably turning also at the top because they're bolts. Yes, most definitely. Probably got to clean that up there so I can hold it. Oh, this one is even tighter. Let's see what this magic torque pipe can do. Ooh. This might be a struggle all the way down the threads, guys. I found that out when I got my bumper. Well, I gotta get something to brush them with, scrape them, whatever. Got the ratchet up there now. the small one, the 3/8 one, so that it fits better. See that hole? Not supposed to look like that. Gotta make sure these parts are identical. Looks good so far. See, the mark on here would indicate that the transmission mount was more shaped rectangular instead of round, but yeah, this is the way it's gonna go. There's some flexibility here, see? So here you see the collection of parts that I have to put back together. Did I show you this? Yeah, it's got a little bit of wear on the bushing. I'm gonna put a new seal in there as well. And of course, a new gasket for this surface here. One day all the parts are gonna be here and I'm still gonna have stuff to do on it anyway, so just as long as I do a little bit every day, this is coming together. So the Crossmember is in there and it's quitting time for today. Now for the transmission tail housing, I gotta wait for the parts. I am gonna take the pan off again because there are some O-rings that I can replace while I'm waiting for the parts, but that's not for today. There's the kickdown switch, which supposedly has just two plastic tabs that allow you to push it out the side of the transmission, but you have to remove the pan because you can't reach those tabs from the outside, unfortunately. So, and besides that, I think, you know, probably it's all going to be good. There's a seal for the shifter shaft there that might be leaking, but you can easily access that from the outside. But I'm still going to give this some thought too. Maybe it's wise to do it while the pan is out. I don't have the seal. I don't know how easy it is to get. Shouldn't be that hard. It's probably just the ordinary thing. We'll see.